First, I'd like to start this video out by saying rest in peace to Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball Z. And for those of you that didn't know, it actually was announced, I think yesterday or earlier today is when I found out that the creator, Akira Toriyama, of Dragon Ball Z, he passed away, I believe at 68 or 66 years old. And it definitely took me by surprise because I wasn't expecting something like that to just pop up all over my feed, especially first thing in the morning. But it was also kind of like a reminder of how short life really is. And I'm almost certain that even though we look at it like, oh, I have, 50 years left of my life. If you're 20, you would think you could live for another 50 years, maybe get to 70. Or that, you could be 25 and you're like, oh, I'm still kind of far from 30 or 35. And then, those next 5 to 10 years just goes by in a blink of an eye. And, one minute you're in high school and the next you're looking for a job, or you're already 5 years, 6 years into a career. It's just interesting how fast time goes by, and it's just interesting how life is in general. And death is often, death I feel like is something that hasn't been properly comprehended. I mean, I think we all, understand the idea that once something is, dies or is dead, it's not technically there anymore. And, sometimes people have a hard time, coping with the idea of losing a loved one or losing anyone, realistically, whether it's an animal or, a beloved mangaka like Akira Toriyama or a fellow celebrity. That thought of losing them and never being able to hear their voice again or see them other than, just pictures or paintings is, it's scary for some people. And maybe it's not the idea or the act of dying and the process of dying. Maybe what it is, it's the thought of maybe being forgotten almost. Like, you're here and now you're not. And it's almost like if you didn't leave a significant impact on the world, would anyone even know that you were here in the first place? Like Akira Toriyama, a lot of people are gonna remember who that is. He's the creator of Dragon Ball Z. He did the art for Dragon's Quest. He's kind of made his mark on the world and impact, especially over in Mexico, because those Latinos love fucking Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, it's a really good anime. I mean, I don't know too much about the whole new Dragon Ball spin-off thing they got going on, but for the most part, he left a pretty big impact on the world and made a drastic change in a lot of people's upbringings, and a change in the anime and manga industry overall. He kind of set the premises of like a main character almost in shonen animes when you really think about it. And he inspired a lot of people worldwide. So Akira Toriyama is always going to be remembered, or he's going to be remembered for a lot longer than someone per se like me and you. If, we're almost like our everyone has a significance, but at this very moment in time, our impact isn't that big yet. We haven't made that much of an impact on society yet, to where we can almost relish in the idea of us always being around on Earth, or always having some sort of earthly presence, even though it may not be physical. And think about people from way back then that have lived and died already that we don't even know of. Their names are in history books, or etched into a stone tablet, or on the side of a cave wall somewhere. They were here and they were gone, just like me and you. It's a very interesting thing. Death used to scare me when I was a kid. The idea of dying was, for me, was scary, because it was like, well, what happened after? Whether there's a heaven or a hell, I don't know. But a part of me used to be, used to be scared, because like a heaven or a hell is as a destination, is almost more comforting than thinking that you're just going to be gone, or your consciousness is just sucked away and just shut off like it was like the flick of a light switch almost. And that used to scare me. Or the thought of still being conscious but just not being able to move and only seeing just a black void. Like like I said, I think it's not knowing what happens when we die, and the process that happens to an individual as they're dying is what makes death a tough thing. And not to mention, creating a bond with something and then just letting it go. But it's all a part of life, even in moments where it's still sad and you're grieving. It's still a beautiful part of life. It's a part of this cycle that we're born into. You're born, you learn, you become an adult, you become an elderly person, and you try to enlighten the next generation of adults and kids that grow and are going to inherit the world that you leave behind. So you have to make sure on your journey that you learn as much as you can and you can accomplish as much as you can, so you can almost pass that information and enlighten the next generation. So that way, when it is your time to go, even though you physically and spiritually, your energy may have left this realm of existence, the life choices and the impact that you had on the world will always remain, and people can carry on your legacy and your name and your honor. I think that's what everyone really wants. No one wants to just be born, accomplish the basics of life, get a decent job, the basic stuff, and die. Some people are happy with that, but I think realistically a lot of us want more and purpose of our life. I don't know, like I said, just the death of someone so sudden that I wasn't expecting, it just kind of made me think about it. I don't want to make it too depressing, but I thought I'd add a little bit of philosophical thought to this whole death thing. Once again, rest in peace to Akira Toriyama. Condolences to your family and loved ones, and I hope they can get through this easier. And if any of you are going through anything, a death in the family or any sort of isolation or depression, don't feel like you're alone or you have no one. You can join me and leave a comment here and just a simple hi or something, and I'll acknowledge it. And we can be there for each other realistically, as like-minded individuals, and we can all progress through this journey of life and make sure we all achieve what we want. I think that's important.